Hi, I'm Dr. Cynthia Clayton, pediatrician, educator, wife, mother, and grandmother. First, I'd like to commend Dena for her courage in speaking out on problems that most families keep as secret. After 38 years of studying child and family behavior, I know there is no perfect parent, no perfect child, or perfect upbringing. Although young children have almost unbreakable attachments to their parents, they are still unique individuals. When they enter school, they realize how different their home environment may be from their peers. Family expectations of their school experience may clash with the school's expectations and the child's own developing persona. If there are difficulties at home, such as a family conflict, drugs and alcohol addiction, poor nutrition, or inability to relax and sleep well, then focusing on schoolwork and meaningful friendships may be impossible. Emotional difficulties may even escalate to cause inattention to schoolwork, depression, and anxiety. Statistics indicate that 21% of children and adolescents in the U.S. meet the diagnostic criteria for a mental health disorder with impaired functioning. 50% of adults in the U.S. with mental health disorders had symptoms by the age of 14 years. We need to listen to our children who are asking for help. It is very difficult for children to tell their story, but if you become that trusted friend, then the most important thing is to listen. Often the telling of the story shows the solution to the problem, and everything becomes clear to the child, or the problem may not seem as severe. Listening and empathy are two extremely helpful ways to offer solutions. Of course, a problem may be so severe and require a professional solution. If there are children in your neighborhood who seem isolated and alone, invite them on the team. Have a neighborhood party. Resilience and a helping hand are the keys to a good mental health living during childhood and beyond.
Hi, I'm Cavanaugh. I'm an advocate, consultant, and educator on issues faced by lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender children and adults. I work extensively with schools and with social services agencies to help those organizations provide safer environments for all kids, particularly for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender kids. I am gay. I'm 64 years old, and I came out, I was outed, I guess, in second grade when a 7-year-old classmate called me a faggot. I went home to my Irish Catholic father and asked him what that meant, and I found out in no uncertain terms that it was a horrible sickness and that I was doomed to hell and other things that many gay kids still go through, unfortunately, today. That sort of put a kibosh on my relationship with my father, and by extension my mother, for most of the rest of my life. In fact, I didn't come out to my mother until she was dying 2 years ago, and I've never officially come out to my father, although, believe it or not, he came to my wedding in June of 2010. I'm really pleased to have the opportunity to work with Dena. I'm honored by the work that she's doing and pleased with what she's doing. Hopefully we'll be able to make a difference in the issues for gay kids. One of the difficulties is understanding that being gay is not itself a mental health issue. The mental health issue arises because of society's reaction to people who are gay. Isolation, and isolation is probably one of the biggest things. Kids don't find themselves anywhere. If you look on the websites of most of the agencies in Palm Beach County throughout the United States and put the word gay into their search engines, you won't find them. So the kids can't find themselves either. We know that the statistics that involve LGBT kids are tremendously horrible. Gay kids are 3 to 4, even 5 times more likely to attempt suicide than their straight counterparts. They take risks that others don't. There's a statistic that says between 25 and 30% of gay adults are alcoholics, and as many as 60% of gay men use drugs on a regular basis. We also know that bi and gay men are more affected by the AIDS crisis than any other group, with about 2.5% to 5% of the population representing 40% plus of the cases of HIV. I'm really hoping that we're going to be able to have an effect on these issues here in Palm Beach County, and look forward to working with Dena in the months ahead.
Hi, I'm Nancy Pena Brink, and I'm Michael's mom. I'm here to tell you a little bit about Michael. First of all, you need to know that Michael passed away September 4th, 2010. He had a short life with us, but it was so beautiful. Michael was just beautiful. He was a 2.5-year-old child born without any problems at all, diagnosed with a brain tumor. And we went through all the hospitalization and everything, and you know, we came out of that and we thought everything was great. And we went on to live our life without thinking back about that time, except for the occasional MRIs. And then we went to school with Michael, and he started having some problems at school. And we never wanted to make the brain tumor something that we kept falling back on. However, with all the little problems that he kept having, we finally had him tested at school with the school's assistance. We did some ADHD training, testing and ADD testing, all that kind of stuff. And he was never found to have any problems. And I believe we did that twice throughout his grade school years, and neither time did a problem show up. And then he went off to middle school, and as most of us know, one of the most challenging times for our children. And his first year at middle school, he had a problem. And he got in trouble. He was called into the security officer's office. And we didn't find out about this for hours after he was called in there. But that problem led us to start considering that Michael needed some additional help. And we're already in the middle of a third testing with him with the school. And we continued going to psychiatrists, psychologists, and getting some additional testing. And we just couldn't quite put our finger on it, but he kept getting into trouble for small things. And by the time we got through middle school, he was in full-fledged problem mode. And one of the things that I really took for granted during that time was that Michael was having trouble with sleeping. And most of all, wouldn't think twice about it. But for a young child, that is a problem. And so that caused him to have problems at school. Nobody told me that not sleeping properly was a problem, and he got up fine, and you know, he did everything he needed to, but that whole lack of concentration became a problem. And then he started doing other things to make himself feel good. By the time he was out of middle school, he was full-fledged into playing around with marijuana and drinking, and basically now we understand that it was because he was self-medicating. He wanted to get himself to sleep. He knew if he smoked some joint before he went to sleep at night, that made him feel better, and he could sleep through the night. And then came into the high school years, and we had another situation where Michael was physically injured. And during that time, he started again doing a little bit more medicating and getting himself through the pain of that physical injury that he had, broken leg and all. And that just became worse. By the time we started really putting Michael into help with a psychiatrist, psychologist, even some residential treatment centers, he was in full-fledged problems with the marijuana and binge drinking. That was his worst thing, was binge drinking. So if there's one thing that I want to tell you as a parent, is that you need to know what the warning signs are so that you can be aware of them and know what the resources are out there so that you can get help for your child. I don't know where Michael would be today, but I know that he probably wouldn't be dealing with the drinking and the drugs that he was dealing with just before he passed away. And things might be a little bit different for him and for all of us. So on behalf of Michael and all the other children out there, and for the parents out there, I encourage you all to find out what are the warning signs and take action before it's too late.
Hi, I'm Trixie Walker, and with a name like Trixie, kids can be very cruel. In elementary school, kids would pick at me and talk about me and not include me in their groups, and that could be very hard. I mean, I went through elementary school being afraid of most of the people, some of my classmates. And sometimes you would have to like run home after school because the kids would want to fight you or whatever. Not having someone to talk to can be very hard. Not being able to talk to your parents, and because I grew up with 8 of us, I was the second oldest out of 8 kids. There were 5 boys and 3 girls. And being the oldest, it was hard to talk to my younger sisters and brothers because they didn't understand. I couldn't talk to my mom because she had so many children to deal with. And it was just hard. And it took me into middle school of being shy and ashamed to say my name. And I was the only one that had boobs back then, so that was another thing to have me self-conscious. And it affected me as growing into my teenage years, which allowed me to fall in love with someone and think that that was my world. I ended up having a child at the age of 16. And then this took me into another downfall and very low self-esteem, because now I was a parent at the age of 16, and I couldn't be like the other girls showing off their stomachs because I had stretch marks, and it was just a painful feeling. And growing up, not having someone to talk to, and now being a teenage mom and having to raise another child, or having to raise a child and to explain to her how whatever you're going through, you're still beautiful. You still care, you matter. And that is important for us to teach our children every day, that come and talk to me about anything. Even if you can't talk to me, talk to a friend or go and see a guidance counselor, because they will be there to listen to you. And not everything is a secret. You need to know that you have to have a high self-esteem in order to make it through anything in this world. So don't be shy. Don't clam up. Talk about it. Talking about it is the best thing that you can do.
This is Brenna. Brenna is 7 years old. 2 years ago, Brenna's mom left for a life of drugs, entered rehab, and then left. Brenna's mom has recently given birth to another child that Brenna has never seen. Today, Brenna calls another woman mother. She doesn't know which mother is which. Brenna will be okay so long as her mother, her real mother, does not try to re-enter her life and lets her have as normal a life as possible. This is Faith, Brenna's sister. Faith's mom left 2 years ago. She hasn't seen her in over 2 years, but speaks to her almost daily. On a normal basis, Faith's mother calls her and threatens suicide, or calls her while she's on a drunken binge. Faith's mother constantly tries to make Faith feel guilty because her father loves her and cares for her. Faith has a brother that she's never met. Faith does not understand why her mother can love another child and be with another child, but not with her. The good news is that Faith has started getting counseling. She's found a counselor that she identifies with, one that understands teenagers, and one that understands a 13-year-old girl who has an addict mother that has abandoned her. Most recently, Faith has gotten over her fear of being in public and asking people for help. We have faith that there is hope for our children. Let's listen to our children. Let's let them talk and let them get out the things that are bothering them.